Hey, this is Maria and Oh the Great. So, yesterday we got wind that Wesley dropped the ball Bell. What other nicknames do I have for him? And St. Louis County decided to settle.
Nasty
And
Bell. Nasty
Nasty
Bell.
Bell, Kinky Bell, Diddy Bell,
Right. Pretty much. Pretty
Diddy
much.
Bell. What else? Dirty. I call him Dirty Wesley or
Hmm.
Dirty Bell. That's another nickname.
I like
Um,
those.
but in any case, speaking of which, on January 27th, there was supposed to be a trial that has been in the pipeline for 5 years. And basically, in the 11th hour, St. Louis County came in and asked for a settlement. I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that it has everything to do with all of the dirty details about Wesley Bell sleeping with his staff, having all these parties, and some other unmentionables that I promised that I would not repeat. There are some things that I know, but some things I agreed not to say.
No, you should say them. You should say them. What are
Well,
those
I'm
things?
still going to call him a sex predator, though.
Right.
That goes without saying. He's still a predator. I mean, we still know that he slept with boys and girls in
Mm,
his office,
mm,
in his prosecuting attorney's office. We still know in Riverview, when he was the prosecuting attorney, that he got rid of evidence that showed that police officers were molesting two women
Jesus.
who they improperly arrested and threw
Mm,
to the ground. So we can still talk about those things.
right.
So I'm not going to stop or relent. He is what he is, and unfortunately, he represents us. But tell us who you are, what you do, how we met, and just what is your spiel?
What's up, everybody? My name is O the Great, OTHA Great. I am a podcaster. I've been doing my podcast High Off the Glass since I feel like I want to say 2018, but I think it was 2019 when I started. I got the idea in 2018, been doing it since 2019. So basically, my show is I'm a basketball fiend and a cannabis aficionado. And I wanted to combine those two things because there was there were podcasts for cannabis and there were podcasts for basketball, but there wasn't one for both. So I decided to put my two favorite things together, and I did it and came out with High Off the Glass. I've been doing it for 5 years now. It's been great. No, I'm sorry, 6 years. It's been great. I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of podcasts start and end since I've been doing mine. So I'm happy to still be doing my stuff. And I met you, as you know, audience will bring you behind the curtain. I met this young lady, just seeing her all throughout St. Louis, helping, especially in U City. Your former state senator, was always impressed from afar with, how you carried yourself, the stuff you said. You were always a truth teller, and you were never scared to tell the truth about what was going on. So I always admired you. And when you ran for Senate, for United States Senate, and you ran against Wesley Bell and Cori Bush, I took it upon myself I wanted to bring more light to your campaign because out of the two, you were by far, I think, the best. Bell has no business in that office, and Cori was there and didn't get it done. So I thought you were the best candidate for it through my support behind you. And it was a kind of a late start, but not deterred. You have a plethora of information. That's why I gravitate towards you. I've had you on my show. Feel free to look back at November episodes and October episodes that we did of the upcoming election last year. Miss Chappelle Nadal was on there with a distinguished panel. We had great conversations. So great political conversation. So from that, I think birthed this, and you wanted to start your own podcast, Hounding Clayton, which would hound Dirty Wesley Bell, because that dude's got a. Unfortunately, he won the United States Senate seat here in Missouri. He has no business in it, and you wanted to expose how nasty of a person he is. So you have done all the legwork and all the necessary work that needs to be put together to make a podcast. And I'm just happy that you included me in it. So we are going to explore the nastiness of Wesley Bell and any other nastiness that we can find in Clayton or St. Louis area. And therefore, the entire country, if there's some nastiness that needs to be spoke about. And there's going to be a lot with Dump coming into power next week. So we're going to talk about it.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for being supportive to my congressional run last year, when I was working on our now newly minted NAACP Image Award nomination.
Congratulations.
Yes. I was looking for those bells and whistles because one of the podcasts that I watched, they have all of the same bells and whistles that you have on your podcast. And I was like, I want those.
No doubt, you can get them.
First of all, I want to thank you for even giving me a platform, and I was just like stuck in this space of what am I going to do? I want to fill in like time that I have and have some fun. So when I joined you on your podcast and you had all of these various perspectives, it was intriguing. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, this is so much fun. I actually like listening to people who I disagree with and hear why they feel the way they do on certain issues. So I was really appreciative of that. And I have to be perfectly honest that, after P. Diddy was arrested, I wanted to hear every single bit of news I could about all of his charges, his RICO charge, his sex trafficking charges, blah, 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 blah. Just all of that. So I couldn't get it on the local news. I didn't really get a lot out of the national news. And lo and behold, I found myself coming home at night, and instead of turning on, movies, I would turn on YouTube. And I would be listening to all of these creators that I've never heard about. And, I found favorites. So I said, I have something to talk about. Wesley Bell and Dragon Days. And, I want to do it because I'm not getting this in local media. So that's kind of why I did this. I have served for 22 years in public service, and there's a lot that I still have to offer. So I decided to do this, and you have been there every step of the way. And as you know, I'm not very technical. And one of the reasons why I don't have my camera is because somehow it disappeared on
I
the
disagree.
background.
I disagree, Miss Maria. You are very technical because number one, you're learning, and number two, look how far you've gotten already in the short amount of time that you've been doing it. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm happy. I'm proud of you. And yeah, I'm definitely I do not mind being here every step of the way for you. I feel blessed that you even asked me.
Yeah, well, you have been here, even with the concept as I was conceptualizing what I'd like to do. Like you were there every step of the way, trying to get my head on straight on, okay, you do this, you do that. And I'm like, I got to go slower than that.
I hear you.
Okay, let's go slower than that.
I hear you.
But I'm here and I'm beginning, and this is my new hobby, and I'm learning and just bringing in different perspectives. So, like, let me hear from you because I can talk forever.
It's all good.
Tell me like some of the things that you were concerned, what I brought to you perhaps about Wesley Bell, or things that you knew on your own about him.
Well, great question. I'm glad you asked. The one thing that I'm so glad that you brought him to the forefront, and you brought his the negative things and the well hidden things about him to the forefront. The one thing that I gathered from him when he first came on the scene, because I didn't even know he was the prosecuting attorney in Riverview, and that makes sense because Riverview has been a shit show for a while. So, I apologize. Has been jacked up for a while. So it makes sense that he's coming from there. But one thing that I remember about him specifically, after the Mike Brown situation happened here, and Bob McCullum, the Clayton prosecuting attorney for St. Louis County, that man was in charge, and that man was known for years of letting law enforcement just have a open policy of whatever the hell they wanted to do, no type of repercussions or any type of things put in place to make sure that this does not happen or such and such is held accountable for police brutality. None of that was under Bob McCullum. So what Wesley did, he took advantage of the Mike Brown situation. He took advantage of McCullum and his lack of his lack of prosecuting law enforcement that needs to be prosecuted, and he just put it out there. I'm one of you, and I don't like what's going on, and this isn't right. And when I'm in there, it'll be somebody black, and I'll do this different, and I'll do that different. And I'm for you all, and I'm for this, and I'm for that. And he rode that wave. He rode that so hard when he was running, and then he gets elected. And we're all happy. First time ever St. Louis County has a black prosecuting attorney, and he turns around and doesn't do a damn thing. And sells out to Scott Rosenblum and other high-priced attorneys here in the St. Louis metro area. And I was just highly disappointed. Everything that he said, all his campaign promises, I don't think he did a single one. I don't think he did a single thing. So that's when he was running for Senate, I was like, oh, no way in hell. And thank God you came, because I didn't want to throw my support behind Cori Bush, because Cori Bush has let us down. I'm in a union, a powerful union. We were sent to D.C. literally a year ago this month. Actually, a year ago next week. And we met with Eric Schmidt's people, horrible. We met with Sam Graves out of Kansas City, decent. We met with Holly. We met with Josh Holly's people. His people were decent. Holly was okay. You still can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. Cori Bush, her office and her completely blew us off, and she knew we were coming. And we're her constituents. We're the ones that put her in office. So I kind of thought, and the funny part is, everyone else with the U.S. Senate, their staff was in place, representatives and senators. Their staff was in the office willing to speak with us, or that particular politician was in office and could speak with us. She was the only one whose staff and her were nowhere to be found in D.C. I just thought that was kind of weird. So with those two running, that could not be it. So I was so glad that you were opposing both of them, because I had a problem with both, and just mainly with and definitely with Bell, because he did not do any of his campaign promises. So I just thought he was pathetic and a waste of skin and not to be trusted as a politician. So when you brought the different things to light that I had no idea of, him messing with staff members, him having wild parties, if you want to be a freak, you want to be freaky, that's cool. I'm freaky too. I'm not opposed to you being freaky. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But when you are throwing away evidence to get certain law enforcement officials out of trouble, and/or you're throwing away evidence to get criminals out of trouble because their attorneys are paying you to do so and taking you to sorry ass Cardinals games, or taking you to this, or giving you this kickback, and you're doing that, you are a pathetic waste of skin, a sorry candidate, and you have no business in any type of political office. So I'm just so glad that you're bringing all this stuff to light.
Well, I appreciate it. I guess the first time that I had issue with him is he didn't want to do the budget. And the picture that's right in the background,
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, I put that picture up because he was trying to convince the dragon, who was the chair at the time, not to have to do his budget presentation in 2021. And this picture was taken in July of 21. But the first meetings, that we asked about were in March, and it was standard procedure for every single department to have an interim budget presentation, so that the council could make the best decisions possible.
Mhm.
And he just didn't want to do it. And the information that we got, always, if you look at his historical, in fact, as soon as I figure out how to do the videos on here, I'm going to show you. But he did a terrible presentation, could not answer questions, didn't know like what the data actually said,
Mm.
when it came to the diversion program. Like, that was a farce. It was a complete joke, his
Mhm.
numbers, and you could just see it in the presentation. Like, if you know, you know, and you should be able to be very proud of it. He was always the one who came back and was like, well, we're not sure, we're going to have to look it up. And then he would put it on his staff, to follow up. But that was always shady.
Mhm. Definitely.
The best decisions are made with data.
Mhm.
And he certainly wasn't. It was such a joke when he interviewed with the St. Louis American, and he said, well, I'm a data driven person. And I'm like, well, where's that been for the last 5 years? Where the
Right.
hell has that been? Because your behind didn't know how to even present a
Goodness.
budget.
Wow.
And
How,
and let me just tell you, a budget is the baseline. It's the baseline of any government, no matter how big or how small.
right.
That is the first thing that, the legislators have to consider in order to make smart decisions in the future. But that's the first thing. And then, the tragedy of my little cousin
There you
is
go.
the next thing that popped up.
It's
And
important.
Jalen Jefferson, he was in jail for another murder. He killed like a 15-year-old when he was 14.
Mm.
If you listen to the After the Uprising podcast, you'll hear that when he was 8 years old, he killed someone. And 2 weeks prior to my
Hold on. Go back. Because I was just going to say, I'm so glad you mentioned your after the Uprising podcast, which you produced, which had to do with Michael Brown killings, and then the second season was about Darren Seals, a hero
Mhm.
here in St. Louis. For the man who, in this man that you're mentioning, this is a person who killed your cousin, correct?
Jalen Jefferson killed my little cousin. Yes.
Exactly. And to find out, and when you, and I heard this in a podcast, but it takes me aback. That's why I stopped you just now. The man committed his first murder when he was 8 years old.
Yes.
How does what was that?
Part of a gang. He was apparently part of the Sosa gang, blood gang.
Mm.
And I mean, I couldn't believe it, but he had killed the brother of a serial killer that Wesley Bell also let out.
What?
So he didn't become a serial. He was in jail for arson, on his family's garage, and from that he was in jail under Bob McCullough. Bob McCullough kept him in jail. He was actually kind of smart
Uh-huh.
and knew how to manipulate the system. So he manipulated the system so well. He Wesley had a failure to prosecute. He ended up out of jail, and just a little bit after that, he went on a murder spree in St. Louis City, in St. Louis County, in Kansas City. It was just a mess. And so anyway, it was Perez Reed's brother that Jalen Jefferson killed at 8 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, that's episode 2 in season 2.
Mm.
That's a whole story, but I wouldn't have known that if I did not consult with my neighbor, Paul Jones, who worked at the juvenile justice center for years on end. I wouldn't have known that.
Wow. That definitely. I mean, that is why I believe Hounding Clayton is a podcast that needs to happen along, just like After the Uprising. It's giving out information, just like how you said, right? when the stuff hit with Puffy, I'm from the East Coast. I've known this man since 1991, 92. So he's Puffy to me. Heard about these different allegations with him, but just like how you were thirsting for information on him and you couldn't get it from local or national news, you had to turn to the internet. I'm so glad that we have Hounding Clayton, because this information that you're giving out about Perez Reed or Wesley Bell or this bastard that killed your cousin, this information isn't anywhere but Hounding Clayton or after the uprising. So I'm so happy that you're doing this, because this is beyond disturbing. Beyond disturbing.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, Jalen Jefferson, and these are just the people who I'm counting on my hands, right? These are people who came up in my work in St. Louis County. And then when I started doing the podcast, my co-host, we were talking yesterday, and he said, wait a minute, Maria, you're the one who said we were counting bodies. We were literally counting bodies. We would have to figure out one murder to figure out another murder. Like,
wow.
Literally.
Wow.
We would have to go through the police reports of one murder to figure out another murder. And it was insane.
I'll be honest with you. I don't mean to cut you off, Maria, but what you all did with what you just described and how you listened to it on after the uprising, that amazing podcast you all did, and so glad you got recognized by the NAACP. You received an Image Award. That same way of going by it, this dead body, and it just leads to more and more and more. I just got finished watching JFK Revisited by Oliver Stone, which he did back. It's a doc that he did back in 2021 through the Looking Glass, and he basically re-examines not his film, of course, but the killing of John F. Kennedy. And the line that Donald Sutherland says in JFK: who did it, who benefited, and who had the power to cover it up. And that's what they talk about in this new doc, right? And it came out in 2021, but HBO is blasting it now for some reason. It is so good. And that's what you notice with that. It's just like, this dead person leads to that, and this person leads to that, and this person leads to. It's the same exact thing. Like, it's amazing what you all are doing, but that's what you have to do. You have to go through the minutia of find this, and then you find that leads to this, and then that leads to this, and then it's all a huge spider web. Is just, can you find
it really is
all the different attachments of the web? That's it.
It really is. And it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of teamwork. Mm-hmm. So those were my experience on the podcast as an employee of St. Louis County. And, he just, being in government service, being in public service for 20 some odd years, you pretty much know what is normal, what is not normal. Mm-hmm. And I knew what he was enabled to produce was not normal. I mean, even in, we used to beat up state government a lot, but shoot, state government was stellar in comparison to how things are running in St. Louis County government.
Preach.
I mean, my goodness, when is there ever a time where a department head doesn't talk to the elected officials? Right. How does that happen? How does it happen that the county executive, doesn't communicate with the legislative branch? How does that happen?
I don't know.
Taxpayers run the show. That's how it works. If you are getting the money from tax, and both of us are residents of St. Louis County, but if you're taking property taxes, then for services, then you need to be accountable to the people who are voting.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to be accountable. They're the bosses. They're the ones who run the show. Mm-hmm. And when you play your independent games, then things aren't the way that they're not running the way that they should.
Exactly. And things that impede, things that's not ordinary, things that citizens need gets put onto the back burner because you're too busy playing political games to get A, B, C, and D. That's
exactly.
It's horrible. That's a reason why I couldn't stand Bell. That's a reason why Bush had to go, because she did the same exact thing when she was in office. And I mean, Wesley, not only does he play the political games, he just doesn't do his job. His simple job of keeping streets safe, He does not do that because he's too busy trying to either gain favor or, okay, you scratch my back, so let me scratch the hell out of yours.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It's just pathetic with him. That Miss Nadal is the problem with American politics. Now it's probably the same thing all across the globe. It is why a lot of citizens, a lot of people, it's why 15 million people sat out of the last election here that we had in this country, our last presidential election. 15 million people
True.
said, F it, threw their hands up and said, I'm not messing with it, because they have an inherent disbelief of what politicians tell them. It's just like that. And when you go back and you watch that documentary I just watched about JFK, you see why. You see why. It's the stuff we do here, the stuff we do on this planet, not even just America, the stuff we do on this planet to people who rise up and try to help everyone. It is disgusting. Like we take out people that are trying to help other people. It's man.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it just, it's sorry and it's pitiful and it shouldn't be happening. But the latest is, as you know, he's in Congress, and I don't know if he's even filed any legislation yet. And I hope he starts doing that. The thing that he was unable to do is explain something. He never could explain anything. And that's like the baseline. That's how you get votes. You have to count your votes, but you also have to educate people. That was probably one of the greatest gifts that I had when I was in the legislature, because it was super majority Republican. I was like the only Black person in the room explaining what was going on. And I had the respect of my colleagues. They were like, go ask Maria. She knows what she's talking about.
Right.
And so that's, where we were. And, I want to see what his successes are. I want to hear words come out of his mouth that make sense. I don't want him to preach to his masters who funded his campaign. He needs to recognize that the voters are the people who make important decisions when it comes to their leadership, and they should be well represented and educated.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's okay to disagree. It's always okay to disagree. One of the things that I found out about Wesley Bell when I was working in St. Louis County government is he didn't like me talking about him after my little cousin was killed. He did everything to talk to my employer to get me to stop talking on about the death of my little cousin, Isis Mar, because he didn't like it. So my employer went as far as call me while I was on vacation to ask me to not post anything about my little cousin who was unalive because of Wesley Bell's negligence.
Right.
And I was looking at the wall like, what? Huh?
Where were you working at the time?
St. Louis County, for the chair of the county council.
I remember you saying, and he had the gall to tell them.
And use the ministers That's why this picture behind you is so important, because that was the setup for the re-election campaign for the dragon. And Wesley was just, using her like a puppet, like, oh, the ministers are going to go support your opponent if you don't do this and this and that. And so one of the things that they asked is, hey, we need Maria not to talk about Wesley Bell, the budget, or her, her cousin being killed by someone Wesley Bell let out of jail. And so because that became political, I set him up. So I set him up and had our producers from After the Uprising podcast show up with the families that had been ignored by Wesley Bell, including Melissa McKinney's, whose son Danye Dion Jones was found unalive, hanging from a tree. And so he ignored her. And then he got mad when people showed up to the office or to the budget hearings and started talking about it. I mean, he was literally upset. It's in the post that I put up yesterday. I put it on my Twitter and in
Okay.
a couple other areas. But he was mad about that. Now, how are you going to be mad about a mother who is trying to get justice for her son? You
Right.
don't respond. You don't respond. How are you going to be mad at that?
Oh my God. I don't. Wow. Okay. Also too, I want to go back to this picture too because I can't really see it. I can tell this is him.
Now I'm trying to see how I'm gonna do it,
No,
but
you're
I'm
good. You're
also
good.
let's see how you can change. Let's see if there's a way to change it up. I
That's
don't
good.
know.
Now
Let's
the
see
other
if I
person in
can
the
do it.
picture is you, correct?
No, that's the dragon.
Now what? Yeah, and now you would say the dragon. Now who's the dragon?
Dragon is my former employer. Let's see if that's not it. Okay, that's not it.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this today.
Don't do it mid-show. Go have it back to the way you just had it. No, it's all good.
And I made you small. Let's
You
see.
did.
And now it's gone. I am totally learning.
It's all good. You're figuring it out. You're figuring it out.
I am figuring it out.
Yeah,
That's the best that I can do right there. As you're talking, I'm going to try to figure out another way to do it.
You're good.
But
just help me out. But okay, who exactly is the dragon?
well, I don't mention her name. I call her Dragon Days.
Okay. Is that the young woman that both of us know that gave you hell?
She's not young. She's the one who I ended up having to file a lawsuit on for sexually harassing me.
Okay, now and that's the one that we both know.
I don't know if you know her, but I've talked about her with you before.
Remember the young lady that was going to be on High Off the Glass when we were going to have the political episodes, but you said no way because
no. She was the assistant to the former chair.
Okay, that person.
Mm-hmm.
But this person
they all worked in cahoots. The one who I directly worked for.
Okay, you called her the dragon. Wow.
Yep, Dragon Days. That's what you do when you go through trauma. You know, you create nicknames for people who caused you harm.
You have to.
You know, you can't give them a respect of calling them by their full names.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I just by no means do I want to ever give her that respect.
Right.
Because she does not deserve it.
At all.
At all. You know, I was trying to be respectful. That's the thing. I was trying to be respectful.
Right. That's the thing. Like, you know, we try to be. Oh,
there it goes. You see it?
No, it's still I still see our blocks are in front of it.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll figure it out. I told you I'm just starting this and figuring it out. So
you're good to go.
You know, it'll take time, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I find my camera again. How do you lose your camera on your computer when it's
it's easy, especially
it's in the computer.
Right. The one thing I wanted to say though, and this is the truth, is that I don't understand this, but I've noticed this since I was a child, right? If a person, and you may not think they are, but they're basically a bully. If that bully thinks that they can get over on you or do something to you, then they will. And I never understood that.
That's what she tried to do.
Exactly.
That's what she tried to do. And I was only being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
I was only being respectful to her. And you know, I literally thought that she walked on water. I thought she always said, always tell me the truth. When I found out that she was the one who was lying, oh my goodness, she's the one who told me that she said, you're not allowed to do any documentaries. You're not allowed to do any podcasts. You're not allowed to talk about my expertise as a former state senator. She said all that. And I was like, you must be out your mind.
Right.
You must be out your mind.
That doesn't make any sense.
None. Yeah. Zero. Zip.
It's really sad when people that you almost liken it to Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm. When Malcolm found out that Elijah was having sex with his employees and people that worked on his staff and was having children with them. It broke his heart because he thought, like you did, that man could walk on water, and he saved him when he was going through hell in prison and brought God into his life. And for someone that you look at, that you put on that type of pedestal, and then for them to be one of the worst individuals on earth, it's almost life shattering, for real.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It absolutely is. Oh, I found my flat scam.
What is that? Huh?
Well, I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
I found my flat scam.
Okay.
I gave it to somebody who didn't return it. I'm still mad about that.
I don't know what that means, but all right.
Oh, you'll see it in a second. You'll enjoy it.
I'll enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people would say, Maria, I heard the excitement in your voice. I can tell already.
No doubt. That is
So
funny.
what are you looking at in your podcast coming up?
In my podcast coming up this week, I'm blessed, right? Because I've been out of work for this month. We have shut down at my job. So this month I am completely off work. That's why I'm able, actually, if I was going to work, I still could do this because I don't go to work. I work second shift. I don't go until 2:30. So I was still able to do this with you, but I've been free this month to live my life, which has been great because I work 6 days a week when I go back. But this week, last week I did 2 episodes. This week I'm doing 2 episodes. My co-host, Montega Rebel, who you have met when we did our political episodes last year, this man,
I love him. He is just so amazing.
He is. And like Ms. Nadal, he has you talk about a jack of all trades. That's this cat. And I mean, the man was, he played for Temple University in the 90s when that school's program was amazing. He had a drug empire going, helped raise his mom, raised his siblings, went from here to Delaware to New York and Brooklyn, back and forth. Is a recording artist, just got signed to, if you've ever heard of Dave East, he's a big time hip hop artist from New York. Just got signed to his distribution label, so he's gonna put his music out through him. He has his own business. He has a clothing line. Like the man, and not to mention has a 9 to 5 and that he takes care of. So how he finds hours in the day to do all the things that. Oh yeah, not to mention he has a podcast starting up. So
hey, congratulations!
I know, right? Yep, he's doing a podcast. I think it's going to be him and his wife. They're going to do like a relationship podcast, and so he's starting that up, I believe, at the end of the month. And one thing that he's starting to do, he's my co-host, and he's such an interesting cat. So I wanted to learn more about him because every time I would talk to him about the regular topics on the show, cannabis, sports, basketball, he would always hit me with, I just did this, I just did that. And they were so interesting. And so I said, look, we got to interview you. So last Friday, we did the first interview. It's on the High Off the Glass. It's on my High Off the Glass YouTube page. Also, My City, My Music YouTube page. Live episodes are My City, My Music. And then once the episode is recorded, gets downloaded, I put it on my page, usually a few days later. And we're going to be doing another live episode this Friday at 3:00. You can come to my IG page, High Off the Glass, High Off the THA Glass. It's going to be on IG. It's going to be on My City, My Music YouTube page live. I'm going to interview him again because the interview we did last week was so good and so thorough. It had to have a part 2. We couldn't even get through all this man's life because he's lived a life. So we're going to do part 2 this Friday, and then this Sunday at normal scheduled time, 2:00. We're going to jump back into to this basketball, into these sports, because the NFL playoffs, I cannot, me personally, right, because I'm very pro-Black, I cannot stand that league. I can't. I do not like the NFL in any way, shape, or form, but I love the teams and I love the players and I love the sport of football. I'm a sports freak. So if you have a sport with a ball, and hell, if you got a car, I'm even watching that if they go fast. So I love sports. So I watch those games. I watch those players. I don't like how racist that league is, and I talk about that as well. But it's the NFL.
Then I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
the controversy between what is it, Kendrick Lamar
Mm-hmm.
and doing the whatever the bowl is.
Halftime. The bowl is Super Bowl halftime show.
Super Bowl,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's funny. The
I
bowl
watch
is
golf.
that's so cute.
I watch golf, okay?
No
I
doubt.
like tennis and golf. We could talk about that.
Tennis is
But
happy with it.
that whole controversy of the halftime show, and Jay-Z is like involved in it. And I haven't even stepped into that. But like that's the thing. That's
It's
really the thing.
To be honest with you, it's not that much of a thing. Like what it is right. It's going to be a little noise around it because they don't care. The NFL doesn't care what type of attention they have, long as it has some attention and people are watching it. Now, also
Mm.
too, the controversy is now I'm not sure. Jay-Z used to be, and this is why I don't mess with Jay-Z or Hove anymore, because dude was when they did Kaepernick dirty, right? And they threw him under the bus, and all he did was just try to stand up for black folks being brutalized by law enforcement, by police. Jay-Z was so behind him and wore his jersey and said we need to represent Colin, and we need to have Kaepernick's back, and this, that, and the third, and and even did interviews saying as such. But then somebody, Roger Goodell, someone with the NFL, got a hold of Hove and said, "Hey, well, why don't you come do the music for us for our major events, and you can make change that way," supposedly. So basically, my man sold out to be the music coordinator for the Super Bowl. So the one last year's when they had Snoop and Dre and Mary J and Eminem and 50, he put that together. I think the one the year before that, I forget who it was, he put that together. This year, he put this one together. And the only controversy is it's in New Orleans. And Lil Wayne, his old sellout ass, he's mad that he's not.
I like Lil Wayne.
But
I
Lil
like
Wayne
Lil Wayne.
you guess what? You may like him, babe, but you don't know anything about him politically. That dude was for dump. That dude is for white people. That dude is for money. He literally said, I remember he said this a couple of years ago, I'm not pro-black. I'm for my family and money. That's what that dude, no, I'm sorry. He said, I'm for myself and my family, whatever works for us. I'm not for what works for everybody else. That's literally what this dude said. So I haven't respected him since then, and he's shown it. And he's hurt that Jay-Z, who he's very close with, and Jay-Z's very close with Kendrick. Supposedly, Hove picked Kendrick to do the halftime show as opposed to him, and that makes sense because guess who's relevant right now and had the hottest record last year? That was Kendrick Lamar. It wasn't Wayne. And also too, the person
ruined what's his
exactly
face's career, ruined with one song.
Look,
somebody's entire career.
That's happened before, and if Drake is smart, he'll keep his mouth shut and he can get his stuff back because he's not the first hip hop artist or musician to have their stuff taken out by one song, but he's really playing himself when he turns around and sues Universal Music and sues Drake because Drake put out a hot song getting him. You play yourself, but the Drake aspect of this is important because Wayne put out Drake. Drake is under Lil Wayne's distribution. He's under his company. So, so Kendrick dissing Drake is also by proxy dissing Wayne. And that's why Wayne was not invited to this to the Super Bowl thing. But Kendrick, I think, wants to have Wayne because Kendrick looks up to Wayne. That's somebody he looked up to as a musician and artist. So it's really kind of a lot of real murky waters and a bunch of bullshit. I'll be honest with you. I don't get wrapped up. I really don't get it wrapped up in who the halftime show is unless it's Michael, Prince, or the people they had last year because I really enjoyed Snoop, Dre, and all them. So I really don't get wrapped up in it. I don't get wrapped up in anything Hove does anymore because Hove showed that he's a complete sellout. And
if you've been watching these content creators on YouTube, they will tell you that Diddy and I never called him Hove, but Jay-Z, they intentionally try to suppress all the up and coming rappers. Like it was, if you listen to episode, what is it, episode
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4, that
Mm-hmm.
talks about Rock Nation in the
Mm-hmm.
context of Darren Seals.
Yep.
You know, Darren Seals was going to Rock Nation to try to get a deal for the rap group that he was managing.
Yep.
But put that in the context of today,
Mm-hmm.
and listening to the content creators on YouTube, they would say that he wasn't for real about bringing all these artists on because he wanted to be the main guy. And a lot of people are saying that like this whole process was to remain on top. He and Diddy had a pact to stay on top, which means to take out other people. Like what I'm watching sounds like a political game in the world of hip hop.
Yep. It's literally that. It's a political game in the world of the music industry. Now, these accusations, like the same type of sexual accusations that Puffy has, I don't subscribe that to Hove. Now, do I think that he definitely didn't do it? I don't know. I have nothing to say about that because
I don't either. I'm not talking about him in that
right,
sense either because I don't know enough. But
yeah.
Diddy, you know.
You definitely do. But the thing I don't like is when they see one black man and any other black man they can connect to that person, they'll throw someone else in that same boat, in that same situation. I don't subscribe to that. But what you're saying about him and different content creators on YouTube saying how much both of them shitted on artists. I'm sorry, both of them crapped on artists.
Now, I'm not trying to curse.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. You're right. You sure gave me the warning. That was the last time. But that is 100% correct. When this dude, it's not even like unknown artists, like, you know, and I remember that from after the uprising with Darren Seals trying to go into New York and trying to get that deal. It's not even with unsigned or unknown artists. When Jay-Z ran Def Jam, when they gave Def Jam records to Jay-Z, and they basically gave him that so he would leave Kareem Biggs and Dame Dash, who he started Rockefeller with. They gave him that to make him break off from them two and do his own thing, which he should never have done, in which they wanted to break that up because those three had a great thing with Rockefeller Records. They gave him Def Jam. When he was running Def Jam, Method Man, well-known musician since the 90s, I want to say Redman, different Def Jam artists, all of them were saying, "Oh yeah, when Hove was on top, he shelved our stuff. Our stuff got put to the side." The only person who, other than Jay-Z, whose stuff got put out when Jay-Z was in charge was DMX. That's it.
Okay, I'm going to sidebar you real quick. You see that big old face on the back of the screen?
I see. Yeah, I see your.
That's my flat scam. That's my flat scam.
Okay,
because I just picture of Sam Page. You can't, because I don't know how to do it yet.
You're good. I can't tell that Sam Page. I just see a big white face.
Yeah.
And then your face in the corner.
It's a flat scam.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a flat J too when I was in the Senate.
What does that mean?
A flat J. So Jay Nixon wasn't passing my legislation for education dealing with Normandy and Riverview unaccredited school districts at the time.
I missed that.
And I worked my butt off. I tell you, it was mathematical. My legislation was always mathematical. You had to be a genius to get that stuff. But I got it passed all the way through the Republican House, Republican Senate, and then Jay Nixon nixed it. So that summer before the Ferguson uprising happened, I got 100 flat J's and I took them everywhere. I took the flat J everywhere.
What exactly is a flat J though? Is this a picture?
It's a big old, it's a picture. It's like a human size picture of the person, a human size picture, human size. And like I would take it everywhere with me. Your phone is getting on my nerves.
My bad. I'm gonna mute it right now.
It's late now. Shoot, we ain't got through the whole show. So that's my flat scam. I want it back too because I gave it to somebody. So here's my picture of, if you can my picture of Drop the Ball Bell, waiting for one of his hearings for the budget.
I see it. I see
you kind of see him. Yep. And then let's see. Here's Dragon Days and Bell and one of his employees in the prosecutor's office, quote unquote, employees who got a lot of overtime, lots and lots of overtime,
Wow.
lots and lots and lots of overtime.
Dang, the way you say employees sounds super suspect.
Super Diddy.
Heck nah.
Super Diddy do.
No
So yeah, that's that. I always wanted to know why he got all that overtime. I mean, he went all the way up to almost $90,000 in overtime. I'll never forget it.
For this one employee to the left?
For this one employee, all he did was drive him around in an Escalade, one of those SUVs.
Was his driver?
Wait a minute. So I didn't even tell you about that. Well, no. He has so many titles, but he works with them now. He took them all the way to DC to work with him. That's how close they are.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some allegations with this guy as being one of the people in the parties.
I don't know, but they pretty close. Okay. I mean, there's allegedly there's some stories. Now those stories I can tell.
Okay.
But that's for another day because I'm trying to keep my, all of my tea for the appropriate time.
No doubt.
But yeah, that's him and the dragon. That's during her re-election campaign when he was threatening her. And at the same time causing her to discriminate against me. And then there's another picture. There's another picture. Hopefully I downloaded it, or if not, I will download it. So I just downloaded it. And this is him at a Republican fundraiser. Oh my God, people made you see that picture kind of? That's when he, people say, don't trust a person without a man without facial hair. Well, this is him without facial hair.
That's what it is, him without facial right there?
And he was at a Republican event.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Republican event. He was running a Republican's campaign.
Of course he was. Can't really see it though, because our pictures are right.
I know. So, and I can't really see it either, but whenever I figure out how to do this, we'll go ahead and do it so you can see it. But I guess what I've learned today, this is the important part, because you've been with me since the very beginning, which was just a concept of, hey, I'd like to talk.
No doubt.
And I'd like to inform people about things that I know about, spread the tea and the love.
No doubt.
And so what we learned today in technology on this program is that you can upload pictures to become the background. Now, this is the reason why I think it's important. When I watch some of my favorite people like Tisa Tells or The Surprise Witness or The Music Network or Aaron, I forgot his Mr. Something. But when I watch, these are all YouTube creators. Okay. These are people who talk about Diddy and his legal fight and all of that kind of stuff. These are my favorite people on YouTube creators. Murad, I can't forget him because he's really exceptional as well. When they don't show themselves on the screen, they have like a series of pictures that they go through. And so I guess what I just figured out, if I was mechanically doing this, there are pictures that I could bring up. And I'm sure nobody cares about that, but it's my lesson for today in technology.
It's all good. Are you gonna put this one out? Because I think this was a pretty decent episode.
Yeah. You know what? Who I want to bring in is Emmett. I really like listening to Emmett. I really like listening to I already forgot his name. Your dear friend who you were just talking about.
Montega Rebel.
Yep, Montega. Mm-hmm.
He
bring him in. Yeah, because it's just, I love different people's perspectives.
Right on.
And those things should be honored. Like, hopefully we don't get to a point where we're monolithic. And we kind of spread the love. Even that Republican guy. Now, I didn't agree with him on much.
Yeah.
But he had a unique perspective.
Therese Marshall. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He basically, and I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but a couple of the things he said did make sense. And he was one of the things he was right about was, on the outside looking in, you would look at the Harris campaign like, oh man, she's going to win. She's a shoo-in. She's got this. Everyone, on the right side of things has her back. Media has her back. Liberals definitely this, that, and the third. Like she's almost getting that Obama type treatment. But then he said one thing that I'll never forget when we did our episode last year. He said that if you looked in the comments on social media of what people were actually saying, not the big headline, not the big post, just what people were saying behind it, the replies. A lot of people were hating on Harris, and they were. And people that look like Harris. The thing that still boggles my mind is how stupid. And granted, the majority of Black folks, of course, we voted for her because we're not, as a whole, we're not stupid. But there were so many. It was such a strong contingent of Black people that either didn't vote for her or didn't vote at all because, oh, she's not Black. She's not Black. She's not for us. She's not Black. Like this woman had, I talked to this one brother at my job, and he's this guy's in the cryptocurrency. He's like deep off into it, makes money from it. Is showing me some things. And this dude had the nerve to say that, she had Miss Harris had in her campaign propaganda. Well, I don't want to use the word propaganda, but in her campaign promises what she was going to do for Black men in crypto, and he took that as, oh, this ain't nothing she ain't trying to do. She's just trying to placate to me. I'm not voting for her. And this fool voted for Cornel West. It's just the way these people went with this one, Miss Michelle. It was just. I mean,
I'm Michelle.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of another national radio show, another radio show that I call in. I'm thinking of Michelle Beadle. She's a national sports media personality, but it's just Miss Maria, just the way that these people, I liken it. I liken a lot of things to sports, right? Because I'm a sports guy, so it's easy for me to dissect that, and it's easy for me to explain it. To me, what I think happens, right? I think it happened with Carter versus Reagan. I think it happened with Gore versus Bush. I think it happened with Dump versus Hillary, and I know it happened with Harris versus Dump. People have an easy layup, right there in front of them. An easy, nobody can touch you. If they do, you'll get fouled, and it'll still go in layup, right? And they'll have that right there at their disposal. But instead of taking that easy layup, which is Jimmy Carter, which is Al Gore, which is Hillary Clinton, which is Kamala Harris, that easy layup. Let me go for the super heavily contested bad three that I should not take. Let me go for that. Let me go for Reagan because I think Reagan will do good, and he's not Carter. Let me go for Bush because, well, his dad was good, and I liked his dad, and he's a name. Let me go for Dump because I saw him on TV, and he fired a lot of people, and he's not the government. Instead of taking the easy layup, which is right there in front of you, that is going to give you those easy 2 points and help you win the game, you're going to take that heavily contested, stupid three that you have no business taking, that shouldn't even be a thought in your mind, but you do that and because you make it harder on yourself, and look what happens. What happens.
Exactly. So before we go, I want to give you some good news. So yesterday we posted on our podcast, and our top cities that listen to our podcast, and it's been kind of consistent. St. Louis, DC, Detroit, Houston, New York, Atlanta, Chicago. Our top states, which is also consistent, Texas, California, Florida, Missouri, and New York. So people.
This is for after the uprising?
This is after the uprising.
Wow.
I mean, and we're global too, because when you get into the details, like we're all over the world. Like that's what's so awesome about tracking this data, which Wesley Bell didn't know nothing about, but tracking data is really, really awesome.
It is. It really is.
It's a skill.
It is. And tracking data is amazing because you need data what can give you an insight to what'll happen in the future if you follow it closely.
That's the truth.
I mean, and that's in almost any area.
The last thing that I want to do is a unpaid promotion. So you and I know we just had a bunch of snow, sleet, ice, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew in the last couple of years that I knew that I was going to try out some of the winter tires. I
Mm-hmm.
got the Michelin Cross Climate 2 all weather tires. And
Nice.
baby, let me
Yeah.
tell you, I was going all over town, up hills, over or snow mountains on the side of the road.
What?
Like you couldn't tell me nothing. Like I was in snow paradise.
That's what's up.
I was in snow paradise. Like you could have thought I was like in the country on a three-wheeler.
That
I
is
was
what's
having
up.
so much fun, like
Wow.
getting through the 8, 9 inches of snow
Mm-hmm.
in unplowed areas. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just, again, it's unpaid. But for those people who care about like getting to work, getting to school, getting around, not being stuck in the snow or ice,
Mm-hmm.
Michelin Cross Climate 2 all weather tires. I
Damn right.
promise you. The only thing it does is you want to switch them out like they do in Canada because they will reduce the amount of or they will
Tread.
increase the amount of gas that you use.
Oh, okay.
The
Because I
only
was just
thing.
going to add. First off, two questions. First comment. Yes, I know you were doing it because when the snow hit, and I asked you how you were doing, you was like, "I got snow tires. I'm good." So yeah, so you were happy. You ain't asked me how I was doing dealing with all this snow because
Oh
I
my
had to
goodness,
cover the
that's so
shit.
true.
But,
You didn't even
but
care. You were like, you don't even care, Maria, about me. And I was like, I got snow tires.
right, shit.
I
You
was
ain't giving a
almost,
damn.
I didn't even need to shovel.
That is hilarious. That I was like, oh wow, them tires must really work because this woman is having fun. Second thing is, so like when it gets warm, when the spring comes, or if we have, because I'll be honest with you, this is the most snow I've seen in St. Louis in the wintertime in a while. If we get less snow for the rest of this month, February, March, or do you have to take the tires off, correct?
You don't have to, but it's smart to do so. You
Mm-hmm.
should be able to rotate your tires out based on the weather, and it's to me it's based on your efficiency, your gas efficiency.
Right.
So if you are wanting to go a longer mile, a longer distance on less money, you are not utilizing, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
winter tires. You would have some of the basic ones so you can get more mileage out of your gas,
Right.
or your hybrid. But with the winter ones, I mean, they're great. Rain, snow, sleet, ice. I mean, nothing gets in the way.
That's what I'm talking about. How much is four of them?
A lot. It's an investment.
I know. Give
I
me the
think
price.
when I looked it up, it was above 200, maybe around 200
200 a
each.
tire? That's
Yep.
it? That's it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's 200 or 219 or whatever it was, but that's about it.
Oh, shoot. I was thinking maybe about 2 G's. Okay, that's not that bad.
No,
Okay.
I don't roll like that, honey. I don't have that. No. Oh, speaking of which, before we get off, let me ask you this because this is a real question that I ask people.
Okay.
And I promised I wasn't going to use the name. Do you have a 4-year dump family plan?
That's a good question. That's a great question. Do I have a 4-year dump family plan? I don't. I guess I kind of do, right? Because one of my plans was I wanted to get my. I get a bonus, right? I get a bonus from my job in February, and it's a good bonus, and it's not what we're worth, but it's somewhat close to it. So what I was going to do with my bonus this year was get my basement done. This will be the third year.
Hey.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This will be the third year we've lived in this house. We're about to hit the 3rd-year mark at the end of this month, so we're excited about it. And I really want to get my basement done because the basement is unfinished. I want walls, I want a floor, I want a bathroom down there. So that's what I want to do. I'm not doing that. I'm going to save my money, probably help my son get a vehicle because he needs one. And I'm just going to save my money because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with dump. I really, 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 really want to get this basement done. I almost feel like I should do it. I should do it now before, if I wait till 2026, prices. I mean, because stuff is already more expensive for material, so it'll be even more expensive in 2026. I'm not sure, but I'm about my family plan for dump for the next 4 years is it's to conserve money. That's what it is.
Mine include, if I could afford it, I would get a generator. That would be part of
Yep.
my my
Yep.
my 4-year dump family plan. The
Mhm.
other part of my plan is to get through my deep freezers.
What do you mean, like use the food? Like, what are you talking about?
Yes, they've been in. So when COVID happened, I got these deep freezers because I just thought Armageddon was going to happen.
Right,
And
right.
I got all of this stuff. And so, you just don't utilize it. So I said, I'm going to eat through my deep freezers.
You should. You
That's
should.
part of it. And everything that's in my cabinets, like,
Mhm.
I could be, and haven't even used it. I don't know how much is expired, but I've got too much tuna in my cabinet.
Too much tuna. I feel you, and I definitely understand the deep freeze thing. My uncle's deep freeze, because my uncle bought my grandmother's old house, and my grandmother had a deep freeze. My grandmother passed away back in 2018. Rest her soul. And I guess the deep freezer that she had prior to 28, prior to her death, was full of stuff. And he just noticed, I guess, about a month ago that thing has went out, and that meat is so.
Oh, I know
Exactly.
all
And,
about
and
that.
check it and check it. He lives in Ferguson, right? He lives in Ferguson,
Mm-hmm.
in all them old ass houses with them huge backyards. Guess what's
Mm.
guess what's back there at night?
Oh, raccoons. I told you about my raccoon story.
Oh,
Raccoons.
way worse than raccoons, sweetie. Full on
No.
coyotes. Full on
Oh yeah,
coyotes.
they're breeding too right now. We just got
Yes.
a message on our next door
Yes.
that the coyotes it's breeding season apparently.
Exactly. Yep, you're right. I saw that too in Ferguson, because Ferguson. A lot of people that don't know, that don't live in outside of St. Louis. Ferguson is a very. It's not a. It's definitely not a rural area. It's right by It's right in North County, right by the metropolitan area. But it's huge, and it's a lot of land. And there's so many. I remember when my grandmother first moved out there, and I think she first moved there in 2016, 2016, 2017, and she had coyotes back then. So he can't even put the old meat in the trash cans out there because they'll tear it up. So he has to wait till the trash comes, but he's not sure when that is. And when all the
Mm.
snow he had hit, he's not sure when
Well,
so yeah.
speaking from advice, because that happened to me in the basement. We had this big refrigerator,
Mhm.
and I walked out the front door one day and there's this smell. And I said, "What is that smell?" I hadn't been in the basement forever.
Right.
So I went down there. I said, "No, Lord, no. It was 100 degrees outside. Do you hear me?
Oh,
It was a
ooh.
100 degrees outside." So, and cleaning that, I had to use bleach,
Hell yeah, you
to
did.
clean that basket out. But it was the stinkiest, most disgusting thing
What was making the
that I
smell?
had ever. Well, the refrigerator went out.
Oh, the fridge went out. Oh dear God.
Yeah, it
The
went
fridge
out,
went
and more specifically, the freezer of that refrigerator went out, and it
out.
was the middle of summer. I will
Yep.
never forget it, and
Mm, mm, mm.
that has been among the most disgusting things,
Yeah.
experiences I've ever had in my life,
Yep.
is to not notice. So with my deep freezers, even though they're newer, I go down there all the time checking, you know,
I know you
all
checking
the
the mess out
time.
of.
No, I'm not going through that. I want to know the moment you go out,
No doubt. No
as
doubt.
the young kids say, bruh. I
Yeah.
want to know the moment you go out.
I know that's right.
Okay?
I
Because
know
I
that's right.
can't, I had fish in there. I had all kinds of meat in there. And that's
Right.
one of the reasons why, part of my 4-year dump family plan, is to get through those deep freezers, because I put a lot of my vegetables in there and
Nice.
all kinds of things. And the point is that we should be spending our money smart.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
should be paying off any bills, especially those with interest.
Mm-hmm.
We should be saving as much and investing
That's right.
as much as possible.
That's right.
So, um, and learn their game, because
Mhm.
we are going into a new administration that has a bunch of billionaires and millionaires making decisions for you and me.
Right. Preach.
So we've got to watch exactly what they're doing. I've a lot of people have been ordering their stuff off of Amazon because they're afraid of these tariffs, that um the increase of tariffs globally.
Hmm.
And I don't know what he's going to get us in, what kind of harm. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but you know,
No, he
the
will.
reason why I want a generator is because he may work some plan with one of these foreign agents who do some cyber bullying
Mhm.
and security issues, and we may not have electricity. We may not have the clean water that we need.
That
We
part.
may not have our
That
gas
part.
that we need. So we need to
Preach.
have supplements,
Yep.
as many
Yep.
as possible.
Yep.
But I mean, you have to be in a space. Now, I talked to somebody today. He was like, "Well, you could go to a what did he say? You could go to a pawn shop and get a generator." I said, "You lying?" He said, "No, they got." I said,
Ain't no
"Well,
way
where's
I'm
the
going to
pawn
come.
shop?"
Ain't no way I'm
No, and
going.
for $200.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, "Well, what pawn shop do you go to that
No.
has a generator?" So it may be true, but I don't know. I don't know.
Miss Nadal, I actually got something because as soon as you said generator, right, it reminded me of this, and I've been talking about this literally since I moved in this house. And this is your generator idea, but on the next level. What I'm doing to my home, this is what I'm doing with my bonus when I get it in February. Besides looking to get my son a vehicle, I'm getting, and this has to be done ASAP. I pray that the paperwork is still in. I'm getting solar panels for my roof. I'm getting solar.
Hey,
I'm getting solar
hey,
panels for my home because the Biden administration gave out so much extra money for us to do that for the last 4 years, and none of us took advantage of it. So I'm going. Well, some of us did. I did not. So I'm getting, because if you have solar panels, that's your generator in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? You don't need
it
one. So
is, and a lot
that's
more people are investing in that. A lot
Mhm.
more people,
Heck yeah,
and I think I maybe we should do a show about that,
we
the
should.
how-to guide,
Mhm.
because I think everyday people want to know the affordability of it and
Yep.
who are the right folks to call when
Yep.
it comes to installing those and getting the best price
Definitely.
for installation and all that kind of stuff. But you're
We can
right,
do it.
that's on the whole generator level and
God,
higher
yes.
than that.
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
we need to that's how we need to be thinking for the next 4 years,
I think so.
is how are we going to be able to conserve our dollars and also have health care at the same time.
100%. And I love that you talking about doing an episode version of that, because the different people, because I want to say there's a black owned company in the city that does it. I know there's some companies out in the county that do it. I'm going to do some legwork to find the best deal and find what I can find for myself, and all that information I'll put on the show. So yeah, we definitely can do that episode.
Okay, bet.
Yep.
So thank you again for being part of the show. It's the very beginning. I don't know all the bells and whistles. I'm trying to learn this technology. So,
I like it.
for the two people who watch, please bear with me on that.
Right on.
And
We love
let's
you
be
too, people.
prepared. Yeah, man. I'm throwing out my high five right now, but you can't see me because I don't know how to find my camera.
I just throw one down. I'll throw one at you. Yes, ma'am. I'm here for it. This was fun. Just like when I interviewed you individually, when I had you on the panel for the political episodes. It's always great when I get to talk to you, because we have a great vibe. I love how I could throw stuff off you. You could throw stuff off me. I really enjoy any type of interaction with you, Miss Maria. This is great.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I look forward to the next time. And
Yes,
hopefully,
ma'am.
I'll be brighter, smarter, and brighter, and you'll be able to see me.
That's what's up. Oh, and folks, hit me up. The great OTHA great on Twitter, Facebook. What is it? IG is High Off the Glass. High Off the Glass. THA Glass. Also, we're live on YouTube. My City, My Music, Sundays at 2:00. Also, you can find it on my YouTube page, High Off the Glass. The spell THA, and get the best information you're going to get for sports and cannabis anywhere.
Last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that we're going to get any more snow in St. Louis?
For the winter?
Yeah, not for the summer.
I think, right. I think you're funny. I think yes, because the way this last summer was so brutal, I had a feeling last summer that we were going to have a not a ferocious winter, but a stronger winter than the last few years. So yes, I do think we're going to get some more snow.
Well, I got to read that Farmer's Almanac because I'm split.
Yeah,
You
they
know.
do tell you. They'll let you know.
Yep. All right. Thank you. And
Thank
I
you.
will post this as soon as it does its job.
Right on. This is great. Thank you, Miss Maria. Hit me up.
All right. Bye now.
All right. Peace.